Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson here from ZeldaDungeon.net, and you are watching my video walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass for the Nintendo DS. We've just completed the Temple of Wind, and so now it's time to work our way back to the Temple of the Ocean King. However, now that we have bombs, there are several things available to us. So I'm going to spend the first half of this video talking about optional stuff, and then we're going to dive right into the Temple of the Ocean King. A couple of videos ago, I was talking about fishing and explaining how to catch the legendary Neptuna, but I also explained that in this particular playthrough that I haven't caught Neptuna yet. The clips I showed in that video were from a different playthrough. So in this playthrough, actually, all I did was I just did the little tutorial thing and caught a skippyjack, and then I caught a single louver and a single rusty swordfish, so I show my collection status here in a second, and that's what I was showing. It's just because I didn't actually show that previously, and I just wanted to make sure people were all on the same page. So I actually don't have that heart container yet. So that's something I'm going to keep my eye out on, and actually a couple videos from now I actually got frustrated and then just ended up catching Neptuna anyway, like forced it to happen, and I'll explain more about that when the time comes. Anyways, on Bandon Island, off to the right there is a cave, and we couldn't do anything with it before, but now that we have bombs, you can blow up this cracked wall. So do so and continue on over this way to find a minigame that is now available to us, which is Salvatore's Cannon Game. Just outside of the cave there is a whole bunch of grass, and you can totally slash it up and go back in the cave and back out again to make it all reappear. But if you just slash the bushes here, you'll get more than enough rupees to play his game. So head over to Salvatore and talk to him, and the first time he'll give this goofy explanation on how to play. So as Salvatore explained, there is two types of targets. The blue ones are worth 100, and the red ones are only worth 20, but they can be hit repeatedly. So kind of the goal is to hit the red ones whenever you can, and then quickly switch to a blue one and switch back to another red one, so you're constantly hitting a red one when you're just kind of waiting. You never should have a point where you're not shooting your cannon, ideally. Now, you should easily be able to get up to about 2,000 points, but our goal is to get 2,500 so we can start getting the better prizes. One thing that's sort of odd about this minigame is that as you're tapping on the screen, your screen will actually rotate a little bit in the direction that you're tapping, which is actually kind of nice, because then it's like as the targets are passing by you, you're actually like rotating towards them, so you can keep following them and keep firing at them. It's actually pretty convenient that it works that way. That's pretty much all there is to this minigame. You want to just hang out on the red targets as long as possible, and then only move on to the blue ones when you have a nice gap or whatever, but also you're just being efficient with when you're switching targets, I guess. For this far south one, you want to hang out here for a little while, but then what you want to do is actually turn off to the left. So just keep rotating to the left as you're keeping track of that target, and then turn around this way instead of circling around to the right. And now here you want to continue like turning to the right a little bit. Follow this red target for a while. I actually switched to this blue target a little too soon, but I should have hung out on that red target a little bit longer. And that's pretty much all there is to this game. One other comment to make is you are just trying to tap on where the target is, not where it will be. Your cannon shots will actually follow, they're like, even though you're tapping where the target currently is, your cannon shot will land where the target will be by the time it gets there. It's kind of interesting, so it sort of preemptively is like heat-seeking and following the target. So as long as you tap on the target correctly, then you're great. So I will say this is the easiest minigame in Phantom Hourglass, and after you've tried it several times, you should easily be able to get 2,000 points at the very least, but our goal is to get 2,500, and that gets you into the highest tier of prizes that are available for this minigame, which is 100 rupees, a common ship part, or the bomb bag upgrade. So one of these times, we complete it the first time, you may or may not get the bomb bags. You might have to play it several times before you finally get that prize, but once you get that, that's all we really came here for. And there are two bomb bag upgrades in the game. You can get them in either order, and they're both the same amount of money or whatever, but each one of them just increases the amount of bombs you can carry by 10. So you can just be done at that point. Once you get enough points and you've beaten it a couple times, however many times it takes for you to get the bomb bag upgrade, once you have that, you can go ahead and leave. But otherwise, you can stick around and actually just keep scoring at least 2,500 to get into the highest pool of prizes. And what that will get you is either 100 rupees, which lets you keep playing and money is nice, or it gives you a common ship part. Now, common ship parts are the lower tiered ones. They're not worth a lot, and I actually didn't realize this at the time, that there was two different pools of ship prizes. I didn't realize there was a common pool and a rare pool. So Ship parts, which ones are common and which ones are rare, varies from game to game, and that determines their value, but also the chance that they could be a golden ship part. That's what I was here for, is I was trying to get golden ship parts, and so I spent an hour just like playing this minigame over and over again, and each time only takes like 2 minutes, so it didn't take very long. But I spent an hour here, and I got something crazy like 33 ship parts, and because for me, the ancient ship set is the one that is the cheapest. They're the ones that are the lowest ends. They're worth about 50 rupees when you can sell them eventually. So I actually completed the entire ancient set, most of the tropical set, and then some wooden and bright set as well. Now, in hindsight though, I think this was all totally not worth it because all of the parts that I got were only worth 50 rupees. So they're not worth very much. They're really low end ones. I mean, it's worth it in the sense of early game, a real easy way to get a whole bunch more hearts for your boat. So if you're struggling and you need more hearts, I think it's worth it for that. As far as rupee amounts, like, it just wasn't worth it. There's better ways to make money than this for sure. Now I realize though, early game though, this is about as good as you can get. But yeah, it wasn't worth it as far as the amount of money. I sold all these. I do make a lot of money later on, but that is from more rare ship parts. So yeah, I thought I was working towards rare ship parts. I wasn't. They were only common, and it feels like a waste. Yeah, my recommendation moving forward though is for all of you watching this, like, if you're going to spend a lot of time on a minigame, it's probably more beneficial to spend all that amount of time on something else if you're going to do that. So after completing Salvatore's game, he will send you a letter in the mail containing a wisdom gem. Now, letters, usually from people like that, when there's some kind of event that triggers it like that, the letters only appear the next day. They appear after the date has changed on your DS, and I don't know why they have that stipulation, but in order to make this happen, what I did is I actually saved and quit, and then I changed the date physically on my DS, and then reopened the file. So actually, like, I think I just made it like a year in advance or whatever. So then it forced the letter to appear. So the date has to change, and that's how this works. So normally, a lot of you who are playing would not see the letter immediately like this. You would see it some other play session. But I did it immediately so that we could see it right away because it's a related event. So that's how you get a wisdom gem. Now, one other thing to comment on is in the Southwest Quadrant, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do. I actually just skipped it before. It was available last chapter and stuff like that, but I just didn't do it because it was just kind of far out of our way. We already had a bunch of other collection status stuff to do, and that video was really long. So I'm doing it in this one instead because there's other things we can do here now that we have bombs and the shovel. So a little while ago, we also got a letter from Astrid in the mail, and she was reminding us that she can give us fortunes, and they will tell us where to go. And you don't have to do that. It's totally optional. However, after receiving the letter, the next time that you get your fortune read from her, she'll also give you a wisdom gem. Before you leave, you want to head down to the basement. She has some soft soil down there that you might not have noticed before, but they have rupees and a treasure map. You can optionally go over to the far right, and now that we've completed the Temple of Fire, you can talk with Kaio, and he'll tell you that there is a treasure map that is buried up on the top part of the island. So you don't actually have to go talk with him at all, but if you did, then you can go ahead and mark your map with the location. So work your way all the way to the top of the volcano, and once you get to that spot, you'll notice there's just a single little patch of grass there, and that is the place that you want to dig. So go ahead and do so, and this will get you a treasure map. Alright, so that's all we had to do here, so work your way all the way back to Merkay Island. Now at this point, you should have a pretty decent amount of money. Now if you're just playing along and just like doing the basics, you probably have more like 1,000 rupees. I have actually 2,000 just from doing mini games, but also getting some extra hidden rupees, random places and stuff like that. I've been getting just about everything as it's available, and so I have a pretty decent amount of cash. So I can actually afford some stuff, and a lot of those things are going to be available at like Beetle's shop ship and the Masked shop ship. Like I actually technically have enough money to go buy a heart container from the Masked ship if I wanted to. Now, I feel like that's unreasonable for most players, like most people wouldn't be able to afford that at this point. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the next most useful thing, which is the power gem that is available at one of the shops, either on Merkay or on Melita Island. So I'll get that here in just a little bit. In the meantime though, I'm going to go to the shipyard and I'm going to go put stuff on my ship. Now I actually have the entire ancient set, which I talked about earlier, but I feel like that's unreasonable to expect most people to be able to do that. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on 4 pieces of 2 different sets. So I'm going to put half of them as the ancient set and half of them as the tropical set. And my reasoning for doing that is I actually think this is a good example of showing something, and that is that the parts that you get, as long as you have 3 of the same type, so like 3 ancient and 3 whatever else, then each set of 3 that you have will give you an extra heart for your ship. So because I have a mix and match right there, I have 4 of each actually, but so I have 2 extra hearts for my ship from now on, which is sweet. So and I'm going to do that for now. Eventually I will get the golden ship set, but for now that's awesome. So next, swing over to the shop, and as I was just saying, the most useful item you can get right now is the power gem. So go ahead and purchase that. There are other things that are available in Beetle's shop, but they are lower priority. So now that we have completed the second dungeon of the game, Oshus has a power gem for us, and it's kind of weird. If you get it between the second and third dungeon, then he has it personally, and you can go talk to him and get it. Otherwise, if you wait after the third dungeon of the game, then he sends it in the mail or something like that. I'm not sure on the exact timing on that, but he'll send it to you in the mail instead, and the date has to change on your DS in order for that to happen. So it is kind of weird. Like it is only available up until, I think, the third dungeon, if you talk to him in person, but if you're doing it all in one play session, then it's still going to be here regardless, but he shows it up in the mail on a different date if you take too long. So whatever way you want to do it, you can get it right now, or you can just wait and you'll just get it in the mail eventually. Alright, so you can buy potions if you want, but otherwise it's time to head to the Temple of the Ocean King. Now there is actually a shortcut we can create. There's that platform just to the left that has the cracked blocks in front of it, but now we can blow them up. Now unfortunately they are kind of hard to blow up from below, so I recommend you just swing around to the north and then blow up the cracked blocks from here. So do so, and then that'll make that be a shortcut. Head off to the left. There is a cracked wall here that you can blow up as well. I'm doing it real quick just because we might as well, just to show that we can. There is some goodies in there, but we can't really do, or like, you don't actually get the benefits of the stuff in there. I think it's a courage gem or something like that off the top of my head. So we can't even get the Spirit of Courage for a while, so I'm just going to ignore it for now. Alright, back in the Temple of the Ocean King for the third time. As always, you can ignore the entrance and the first floor. So back in Basement 1, we now have a massive shortcut. Now that we have bombs, you can blow up the cracked blocks to the north, and you can actually blow up bombs early by stabbing them with your sword. If you stab them from a distance and use just the tip of your sword, you actually will not take any damage at all. So with a little bit of practice, you can get really good at it, and you can make bombs blow up almost instantaneously. So you throw them down, blow them up right away. Step on the floor switch here to release the door off to the left, grab the small key, then use that on the locked door to the far right. And we're done with this floor. There's nothing else we can do here for now. So this next room, now that we have bombs, we have a couple options. Now normally you would go to the far bottom left corner and then pass through the flames and then work your way to the far bottom right. But we don't have to do that anymore because now we have bombs, we can create this shortcut in the bottom right of this section of the room. So we're going to use bombs to blow up that wall here in just a moment. Now there's 2 ways to do this next part. You can either pull this lever behind the Phantom, which will remove the flames, so you go get the small key, then you go up through the cracked wall that we exposed, and then go through the flames to get to the door. Or you can go to the bottom right and then go through the 2 colored blocks and switch them like we did before. So there's 2 different ways to do that. You can either lower the flames, go back north, go through the flames to get to the door by pulling the lever, or you can go bottom right like I'm doing in this video and just avoid the Phantom. So bring this red jar with you if you suspect that the Phantom is going to chase after you or whatever, and then that way you're safe. Now before we move on, there is one more goodie you can get. There's another cracked wall over here, so go ahead and use your bombs over on this section, and in this safe zone there is a yellow jar that has 30 seconds on it. So go ahead and grab that, then open the locked door to continue on. So back in Basement 3, you want to go ahead and use the red jar to create a safe zone. Now, my highest recommendation of where to place this is over here to the right at this intersection, because it gives you a nice place to run back to for the Phantom on the right. So this also caused the Phantoms to all chase after me. I don't really care though, because I want this Southern Phantom to bring me the small key. So I'm doing this on purpose. Now, when I was here last time, I was showing how you could use the boomerang to smack the Phantom and get it to drop the small key. Now, I actually was also commenting you could use the sword as well. This is significantly more risky, but I just wanted to show that method instead. Now, if a Phantom is right next to you, they will turn around and smack you. Now, because I'm standing in a safe zone, it's actually okay. But otherwise, that could be kind of risky. Continuing on to the top left, there is a jar in the corner that has some seconds in it. But otherwise, go ahead and open the chest to get a force gem. Now, in hindsight, when I was looking at this, I should have used the boomerang to smack that jar with the yellow jar instead. So that way I would not have made any noise, so the Phantom would not have come and investigated. So now that we have bombs, we can blow up these cracked blocks in the corner where there is a yellow jar that has another 30 seconds. And if you look at my time, honestly, I'm at 11:45, which is great. That's I entered the dungeon with 12 minutes, so I actually haven't used hardly any time at all. Most of the time you lose is actually from getting hit by Phantoms, so as long as you aren't getting smacked by them, it's actually pretty good. In the bottom right corner, there's also a soft soil location. This allows you to make a geyser that turns on and off repeatedly, but this makes a great shortcut so you can get up there. And I went ahead and I killed the Phantom as long as I noticed the timing just seemed good. I was in the bottom right corner, it was heading there, so I just went ahead and used it to kill them. In the far bottom right corner, there is the next Force Gem, so go ahead and grab that. The final one requires the key, but as you saw, there was multiple ways to get that key from the Phantom. You can use a boomerang, you can use your sword, or you can kill it using one of the platforms, which now we can reach it using the shovel. So grab the last Force Gem and work your way to the exit. So at this point, you actually want to ignore your fairies for a moment and go off to the far left, and there is a yellow jar that has another 30 seconds. And again, if you look at my time, I have 11:36. I've only used like 24 seconds so far, which is great because those jars keep restoring it. So we're actually at a pretty decent amount of time remaining. Go ahead and use the door, and Neri will unlock it, and which will allow you to progress down to floor 4. So on this floor, we have a new enemy called a Phantom Eye, and I actually will talk about that here in a little bit. When you go to the far bottom right corner, there is a geyser here that is blocking your path. You can deactivate it using the crystal switch around the corner. Just use your boomerang to pass through the geyser. And then there's also a Phantom Eye, which you want to attack around the corner using the boomerang as well. This is the safest way to deal with them. There's also a yellow jar in the far bottom right corner, so grab that. And then following the Phantom, it actually kills something right here. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like when I slow down the video that there's one of those 30-second like power-ups right there that dropped, and I don't know why. I don't understand what that was, but if anybody in the comments has any idea, just let me know. That'd be kind of neat. I accidentally got seen by this Phantom. I thought that my boomerang path was great, but apparently not, so I totally missed it, and I ran forward preemptively thinking I was good, and the Phantom Eye touched me. Unfortunately, the first time you get seen by one, then this will cause another Phantom to appear, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world for walkthrough purposes, so that I can show how to do this on a harder difficulty, so to speak. Now, it will just reappear after a moment, though, so just watch out for that. So Phantom Eyes, they will slow you down. You can rub your stylus on the screen to make them pop off, and they're vulnerable and stunned for a moment. Or you can run to a safe zone, and they'll just fly away. So in this case, I just ran to a safe zone, and it was okay. In the far bottom left corner, there is also a soft soil location that becomes an air geyser, so use your shovel there, and you can hit this crystal switch. And what that does is it puts out several of the air geysers on this floor. You don't have to do that, it's not required, but it does make things easier. Now this did make the Phantom come over, but it doesn't really matter, because I was up on an upper ledge. That's a little tip for you, by the way. So Phantoms will stop attacking if you either go into a safe zone, or you are on an upper ledge. So if anytime you're on an upper ledge at all, so you get on some stairs or whatever, then you're fine after that. There's a rectangular boxy area on the left side of the map that has a crystal switch in it, so you want to blow up the cracked wall to the south of it, and then you can go inside and smack the crystal switch, and this will lower the spikes off to the far right. So go in there and grab the small key. When you kill all the Phantom Eyes on this floor, it creates a chest off to the far right that contains a power gem, so just make sure you grab that before you continue on. But that's everything we had to do on this floor, so go ahead and work your way to the locked door at the far south. In Basement 5, you want to continue off to the left. These spikes actually will just steadily go up and down. Same thing with these ones on the very far left. So just wait for them to go down, then hit the crystal switch off to the far left. This will make all of these lower spikes stay down forever. So run over to the right, and then there is a yellow jar, which is awesome, and there's also a bunch of goodies. Now for now, the only thing really of note up here is that it has some bombs to fill you back up, and just some hearts. So grab all that stuff if you want to. It's definitely to your advantage to go ahead and fill up your time that way. You save more time taking that detour than just going off to the left instead. In this next enemy room, you face off with several yellow choo-choos, and you can stun them with your boomerang or just wait for them, but otherwise, you can just use bombs. We just filled up our bombs from that little area with all the jars anyway, so it's not really a big deal. Besides, if you got the bomb bag upgrade with me, you should have plenty of bombs at this point. Go ahead and grab the yellow jar here, then continue on to the next room, which is filled with mini blends. Now, they can be defeated pretty easily with spin attacks, actually will kill them in a single hit, but otherwise, a regular sword attack only does 1 damage, but a jump attack, which is when you tap on them from a distance, will also do 2 damage, and that'll kill them instantly as well. So either just tap on them from a distance, or run close and use spin attacks is kind of the fastest way to deal with them. Mini blends often drop 20 rupees, which is kind of crazy, but go ahead and grab all those and then grab the yellow jar. Up ahead, we have a crystal switch we can smack with our boomerang, and this will create a chest that contains a red potion. Otherwise, if you are full on potions, it will actually have 100 rupees instead. Now, the rupees are definitely a better value, especially because you can just sell your red potions and buy purple potions for 80 instead, which is worth more. Now, one other thing to note about this, though, this chest actually will appear every time that you go through the Temple of the Ocean King. A lot of other chests will actually disappear, or like they only appear once, you open it and that's it, it's done. This one actually will appear every time, which is kind of interesting, although this is probably one of the last times you'll go to these upper floors of the Temple of the Ocean King moving forward. We might come back here for some more like optional treasure later, but other than that, we're pretty much done here. On this floor, we need to open the door up ahead by drawing the correct shape, and there's a bunch of tablets in this room that give you clues about what the shape is. So if you already know what the shape is, then you don't have to do any of this stuff. Now, I'm just showing it just for the sake of, like, showing everything, but if you either don't care for that, and you can just skip ahead in the video and I will have the answer. Otherwise, you can follow along with me if you want, whatever you want to do. In the far bottom right corner, there is a crystal switch. Smack that, it will lower the spikes, which allows you to access the bottom right corner. Now, the correct tablets that you want to look at are actually just the 4 corners. You don't need the ones in the middle left and middle right. And the one in the middle left actually causes something bad to happen. So if you can avoid it, you actually just don't want to do that at all. Once you kill all of the phantom eyes in the room, this will lower the spikes on the far left, which gets you a yellow jar with some time in it. I also used the bombs here to blow up the cracked blocks as well as do a distraction for the phantom. I wanted to lower the air geyser here on the left anyways. So you step on this floor switch, it lowers the, it gets rid of the air geyser, and I also got the yellow time as well as I was doing that. So to lower the spikes, we're going to have to use this crystal switch in the corner. There's an air geyser here, but it is timed. So now, just like in the Temple of Wind, we're going to have to use bombs and throw them into the air geyser. However, because it's timed, you do need to throw the bomb onto the air geyser like while it's not blowing. Then hop on yourself so you can get up here and use the crystal switch. So lower the spikes. This gives you the final clue, which ends up making an hourglass symbol. And so I would recommend that you actually write this on your map. The one thing to know about it, though, is because you start in the top left corner, you do have to start there to make the symbol draw properly. If you start in a different corner, it will not work. So one thing that I did not do is use the red jar in the top left corner. This is a nice little resource, so if you're having trouble, especially on this left side, I would go ahead and throw it somewhere handy where you can run away from the phantom eyes and the phantom. I also did not use the tablet on the far left, which causes something bad to happen. I can't remember, it's like makes phantom eyes appear or another phantom, one of those two things. Anyway, so I did not do that. We'll go ahead and run to the door and draw the symbol, which is an hourglass, and just do it in the correct order that we wrote down. So top left, then to top right, and then continue onward. This will open the door. There is a yellow jar here that has time in it, but that doesn't really matter at this point. So the stone dealio on the wall shows us the location of the sun key, and it has a symbol on the map, and we need to pull up our map and then tap the southwest quadrant. You'll notice that the map is actually inverted, so they're flipped. And we need to make the symbol touch our map. So how do we do this? This is actually kind of clever. You need to just close your DS system. So if you have a DS or a 3DS or a 2DS XL, just close your console, open it back up again. This will transfer the symbol to your map, which is really cool. Now, if you have a regular 2DS, which does not close, then how you do this is you put your system in sleep mode and then wake it back up again and it will be transferred. If you are playing on the Wii U Virtual Console, you can either press the home button and then close it again, or pull up the Virtual Console and then close it again and come back to the game and it will transfer the symbol. Oh yeah, it's time to find that sun key. So join me for the next video, folks, where we will do that. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe both to Zelda Dungeon and myself. And as always, keep being awesome, and I'll see you next time.